Well, how are you this morning? It's Saturday morning, doing shuttles today. That's why I'm in this truck. You like my new vest? The problem psychopaths have with you choosing your own emotions instead of letting them choose your emotions is that then you also choose their emotions and they just can't stand it. Because they base how they feel on how you feel. And that's why they have to control you, because if they can't make you feel miserable or happy, whatever, if they can't control how you feel, they can't control how they feel. It's very tricky. So when I'm dealing with psychopaths in my head, usually, like I said yesterday, or in the real world, if there is such a thing as a real world, when I am impervious in terms of emotional choices, when I choose my own emotions instead of letting them choose for me, and then they, it may be subtle at first, they don't just instantly freak out, but they test, are you going to be able to maintain that? Are you going to be able to keep choosing your emotions as things progress? And if you can, then things escalate. And as it escalates, as your connection to them, as the battle of emotions continues, they'll try more and more shit to keep your emotions where they want them. And eventually you either have to part ways, restraining order, like I was saying, or they have to get used to feeling the way they're going to feel when you are strong and confident and calm and happy, whatever they do. And they can have relationships with people like that. They can, at least be in their vicinity, but it's not going to be happy for them if they're used to controlling you. It means they've lost one of their sources of, like parasites. Oh, here's that Blue Rock Heritage thing right by the sycamore tree. Interested in that, we'll go together. Just let me know and we can go together. That was a follow-up to yesterday's topic. Today I've been thinking about how to choose gratitude no matter what happens. So when things happen that would normally piss me off, like somebody comes over in front of me in traffic and then slows down so they can text, or whatever reason, they see a truck and they just think, they're not paying attention to their speed. I need to pass this truck because, it's a truck. And then they get up in front and they pull over, and they pull over close because there are people behind them because they're slower than the rest of the non-truck traffic. And then they slow down. Or they stay exactly the speed, or just slightly faster, and then your truck, the truck I'm in right now, would apply the brakes, or at least it would back off the throttle if somebody's in front of it like that. So when that sort of thing happens to me, I think, this happened, so automatically I need to get pissed off. Or in a relationship, if something happens in a relationship that makes me feel a certain way because it's always made me feel that way, I have to stop and realize that I can choose. And I was talking about this with my partner yesterday. We can both choose in reacting to each other's foibles, we can both choose our vibrational level irrespective of what the other person chooses. We can just decide as individuals that no matter what other people choose for their emotions or their actions, we can just choose to be grateful, joyful, blissful. Anything that we've decided already is what we want, and we want to stay in that level because we can manifest better, we can live better. Traffic is the best test for me. I don't know what your best test is, but the kinds of things that happen in traffic, my oldest child, Isaac, he could probably benefit from thinking about this, because he watched me more than the other ones because he's older, and he watched me as though I had push buttons, and whenever life pushed one of the buttons, I would react completely predictably. And so I need to rewire all my buttons, or just take them off, uninstall them, and not give life a chance to come up to me and push them. I need to be the only one deciding what my emotions are. Which goes along with what I've been saying for a couple of days now. Once I get all the days edited, I've been working really long shifts, so I haven't had the energy to edit in the few hours I had to sleep in between shifts. So I'll probably have, what will I have? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that, all to edit. I love that bridge. The Wrightsville Bridge, or the Columbia Bridge. I think they call it one or the other. John Wright is the founder of Wrightsville, so that would be appropriate if they called it after him. Anyway, when I get all my videos edited, I'll be up to date, and I can't remember why I stopped to talk about video editing. When I catch up, I guess. Oh, I was thinking about the theme, the basic theme, which is choosing, and not letting the psychopathic voices in my head choose them, or the other people around me choose them. And if you're thinking about your vibrational level and you want it to be generally higher, you really do have to remove access so that other people, other personalities can't choose for you how you're going to feel. So if people do stupid things in traffic and it just automatically chooses your response for you, you can practice with me and let me know how it comes out. I want to stop for ice cream. This is my third double-stacked 40,000 plus pound load of ice cream to Mountville this morning. One of my push-button emotions that I don't want to alter, like the response I have to it, is when I've harmed someone and I feel guilty, or I feel that pain, like empathetically I feel the pain that I've caused. When that happens, I still want to be grateful. I want to be grateful that I can feel that pain so that I won't do that to anyone else in the future. So when that pain comes that I've caused someone else, and it hits me, I think, okay, I'm grateful to feel this, and I don't just choose to be giddy or some other silly emotion that doesn't fit. It's sort of like the Inside Out movie where sadness is allowed at the end to touch memories and to work directly with someone in the present moment. First it was Bing Bong, and then it was the protagonist of the story, it was okay to feel sad. And sadness, that feeling of sadness, is what allowed the girl, the protagonist in the story, to come to her senses. And I want to come to my senses when, if I've harmed someone and I do it habitually, or I have been doing it habitually, I want to come to my senses and feel that feeling and then not do that anymore. And there's a beauty and there's a joy. Joy and sadness can go together. I know it happens in music and other art forms. Beauty and sadness definitely go together. And joy and happiness are not the same thing. So happiness and sadness don't go together, but joy and sadness can go together. And in the movie, joy and sadness did work together and saved the day. And then I feel like I'm moving to that non-toxic place even more. Learning not to harm other people, especially when I've been doing it for years and have been unaware of it, that's a great way to be less toxic.
Christiana Howell, to you, Lynn Pyatt, Keel Howell, Ethan Howell, Isaac Becker Howell, Emma Howell, Seth Howell, and +1 for what's the name of the campground we go into?
Susquehanna River. And to put a little flag in the middle of the river and it said, go! I'm going to hit go and see how it routes me into the river. All it has me doing is going up ahead half a mile, make a U-turn, and not lead me into the river. I wanted to drive my truck into the river today.
In 1/2 mile, make a U-turn.
Make a U-turn. Oh, and then oh, that's cool. Then it makes a little dotted line right out into the river. I should make a U-turn and go back and drive out into the river and see what the result is. Okay, get ready to do the Turkey Hill wave with me.
When possible, make a U-turn.
That was Alberto. Make a U-turn. Okay, Garmin, cancel route.
Okay, route canceled.
She sounded disappointed, like she wanted me to drive into the river. You can touch any spot on the map, I guess. I want to go to Istanbul now. I'll just find it on the map. So the voices in my head may or may not be other entities. They may just be parts of my mind.
Which result would you like?
She's always listening to me. They may be just different parts of my mind, like my subconscious mind and my conscious mind, and not agreeing with each other about things. Part of my mind that's prone to anxiety or worry, or however you want to say it. My mom is definitely like that. So what I want to be able to do, if there's a part of my mind that's trying to warn me about something or is legitimately worried about something, I want to be able to do the therapy and figure out how to solve the problem. But sometimes it feels like I'm at war with myself, and that part of me that wants me to be anxious isn't helping. And I need to combat that part of my mind when I know everything is just fine, and I need to be able to say, no, I'm not going to listen, I'm not going to try to figure it out, there isn't anything to figure out, everything's fine. It's like telling an anxious child to go to sleep because there isn't anything to worry about. And if your mind is like my mind, that doesn't always work. My anxious child doesn't always just want to go to sleep after I say that. So in that case, I can choose my emotions. I can choose not to be anxious, which is amazing. And I'm not saying that everyone will be able to do this, but I have been able to do it. I've been able to choose as though I'm dealing with a psychopath, and to say, I will not cave in. I will not allow myself to be anxious now. I'll be grateful that I get to work through this and just choose not to be anxious. And then that part of my mind reacts like a psychopath and says, wait, no, I can't be happy if I can't make you unhappy. It's a conundrum. So if that part of my mind reacts that way, goes apeshit because I won't listen, then it's a great outcome when that part of my mind just has to go sit in the corner for a timeout and leave me alone. And eventually, I think that part of my mind does the same thing that psychopaths do. It says, I can't prevail here. This guy isn't going to be my victim anymore. Because that anxiety is crippling, as many of us know. We don't need it. There isn't any use reasoning with it. We just need to shut it down. And the fact that it has been possible is interesting. One really interesting thing is when I shut it down like that, my body reacts. Like I'll get sleepy, or I'll feel like things are happening that are going to be really terrible, devastating if I don't attend to them. Like driving a truck, that's nerve-wracking enough. And then that part of my mind starts to say, hey, look at this, like hyper alert, hyper aware of everything that might go wrong. And you don't need that. That doesn't make you a better driver. It just, it makes you overthink things. I'm better off distracting myself and not thinking about things much, and then I just end up functioning better. I tend to overthink. There's another Turkey Hill wave. For example, backing up a trailer. If you overthink that, for me anyway, it's way harder than if I just kind of naturally Sundance it and don't aim, just go by the seat of my pants. It's just way easier. Like every time I set up to back, if I don't really think about it that much, I just kind of do it. If I get too lackadaisical, then I'll make a mistake. But I'm more likely to make a mistake because I think too hard. Like right there, I did that back in one shot with no pull forwards, and I didn't smack into the wall behind me. I'm not in my sleeper cab, I'm in a day cab, so it's a lot easier. But I had two jockeys and another driver watching me do that. So that's pressure, right? But I just did it in one shot. I don't always do it in one shot. But I was trying to demonstrate what I was talking about there. I was just talking to you, and I wasn't overthinking things, and it was just easy. because I wasn't thinking too much. And I think that's what I need to do with my mind. When I'm doing that with my own self, I can distract myself and I can tell myself how to feel, and I can shut down the anxiety, and I can win at life because I'm not crippled by anxiety. And then there's a loop that gets reinforced. Instead of a downward spiral, it's an upward spiral. And it just makes everything a lot easier. Isn't this an interesting place? I'm trying to look busy here. I just did my post-trip. And my trailer return form. I will say that part of my mind that wants me to be anxious doesn't give up easily. Just like it takes a long time to remember to always keep my shoulders back, because I've been living a long time without doing it that way. I do so many of my emotions hunched. So I have to keep remembering to keep my shoulders back. It's like that with anxiety. I have to keep shutting down that part when it's unreasonable, when there's no logical reason to be anxious. And I don't know of any logical reason to be anxious. And over time, at first it goes apeshit, but after a while it relaxes. And then something else triggers it, and then we go through the process again. But in the meantime, there's an upward spiral, generally, of getting more and more peace, more joy, more bliss, less fear, less toxicity. With my shoulder position, I can keep it back if I'm just going along, driving, not doing anything else. But whether I'm in the cab or when I'm out winding landing gear or anything else I'm doing physically, when I'm reaching forward, sideways, whatever, if I'm reaching, that's when I automatically roll my shoulders forward. So to change that habit when I'm not just sitting here is tough. It's a long-term habit. When I think about my mind and how I'm addressing my thought processes, I have habits of anxiety. And so there's nothing, it's not a trick, it's not a challenge, unless I'm reaching in terms of thought, in terms of doing something versus just sitting there with nothing to do. When I'm doing something, my mind has the habit of being anxious. So for both processes, it takes a lot of concentration. It takes a lot of my CPU to remember every time when I'm reaching to keep my shoulders back. And when I'm doing things to keep my mental processes away from anxiety. It's a habit. And if there are demons, whether physical or not, they have a habit too of shooting me with anxiety to keep me under control. I know people in reality who know me and do that to me. And then I know people in my head who, if whether you allow that or not, I don't know. But I have people in my head who do that to me habitually as well. So I need to step up my game, my concentration level, and caffeine really helps me with this. the more caffeine I have, the more I'm able to concentrate and keep any kind of anxiety at bay. I don't know if that's the answer for everyone. I know Ritalin is a stimulant, and Adderall, they're uppers, and it really is for me about concentration, and I need to pay attention like blazes. I need to pay attention all the time, and then I can do it. I can keep the anxiety at bay. What works for you? If the windmills aren't moving, does that mean it's a no bones day? Let's see. Oh, they're stopped. There's an important distinction I have to make before I let you go. It isn't choosing how you think about things. You can think however you want about things. It doesn't give you any power to choose how you think about things. What gives you power is choosing how you feel about things. So you don't have to change the circumstances at all if you change your emotions. It may seem easier to change how you think about something and more powerful, but from what I can tell, it really doesn't matter what you think about something. You've got to get to the feelings, and then you are all powerful.